Lisa Saad, and I'm the Vice President of Operational Development for Top Level Management. Today we're going to talk a little bit about designing webinars. This is a humongous topic, so we're going to talk specifically about designing a well-blended webinar to hopefully engage your audience and drive home your point. Oftentimes webinars are viewed by people as just a time to catch up. I can run the webinar while I check email. Sometimes people even mute it and just talk on the phone. So by having a well-balanced instructional design-based webinar, you're more likely to be successful. So let's talk about three different components. So 70% of your webinar will be the bulk of your design. So within this design process, you want to make sure that you have an introduction that's very strong, that gains people's attention. So you want them to be engaged from the very start. Number two, you want to make sure that each section of your webinar, you have a specific objective. So with each section, what is your objective? What do you want them to learn? And making sure that your slides aren't overwhelming. When you're designing this, make sure if at any point throughout your webinar, you can relate a story or tag into their base knowledge to help them keep engaged. It's a great technique to use. And three, make sure that you summarize each point before moving on to the next one. Oftentimes when designing webinars, the bulk of the content, when people design, they just are off and running and there's really no structure to the way that they design it. The second part is 20% of your webinar. 20% of your webinar will be engagement. And a lot of this is pivotal on whatever your platform is that you're going to be using. So if you're using ReadyTalk or if you're using Adobe Connect, you'll have different features. And some of the features out there are amazing. At a very base minimum, you should be able to do some type of whiteboarding exercise perhaps. And I know Adobe Connect specifically has a whiteboarding function, which is very cool. You can change the colors of your pen, you can erase, you can engage with your audience so that they can write on the whiteboard. So again, that engagement is more than just them clicking to the next thing. Use the chat function, ask people questions, pull that chat box up into the center of your screen so that people can actually engage with the content. Again, keep in mind, the chat function can get out of control if you're not a strong facilitator. So make sure that you're prepared. And then lastly, the polling function. Hopefully most of you that are doing webinars and designing webinars have seen this in play, but that's when you can ask the audience a question and give them a few minutes to answer that question. Keep in mind, throughout the design process, your 70% and your engagement process, your 20%, you want to make sure that you don't have downtime during your webinar. Because if you're not talking and you're not engaging, then people don't know what's going on and they'll think that their screen has stopped. So keep that in mind as you're moving along. And the last 10%, how well did you do? You might have thought you did amazing, but what do they think? Because really, the audience opinion is reality. So evaluation is extremely important. Feedback. Do you have a vehicle to gain their feedback? Perhaps a survey monkey where you send out a survey asking if you've hit all of your objectives and really driven home the point that you were trying to communicate. Follow up. Can you send out a recap email? A great way to do this is to do a recap of your webinar and send out a summary page. So next time you get ready to do your webinars, preparation is the key. 70% design on your content, 20% engagement with your audience, and 10% follow-up and evaluation. Have a great day and we'll see you next time.